Hi, I'm Sean Mitchell, president of Timber Heritage Association. We're out here at the historic Samoa shops, the 1893 roundhouse, machine shop, boiler shop, blacksmith shop, and car barn. So one of the cool things that we have out here that you can view on our regular operational days, this is the Dolbear and Carson No. 3 locomotive.
Okay.
It's a 1922 Baldwin product. This locomotive came up from Philadelphia and it worked for the Humboldt Northern Railroad, which is actually owned by the Dolbear and Carson Company of the Carson Mansion fame.
Oh.
A really amazing thing happened, and amazing but unfortunate thing. In 1923, this locomotive, it was being worked on over the weekend, and we think that the crews probably left the throttle slightly open, and they probably left the Johnson bar, which is kind of like a gear shifter, in reverse.
Oh.
So Monday morning, new crew comes in. They hooked the thing up to a shop steam line. Most shops at the time, they'd have like a stationary boiler. It would make it so that they could essentially steam the locomotive up without having to actually put a fire in the belly. So the guys hooked it up. It's probably really early in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. And then they go to the cookhouse, the Samoa cookhouse.
Yeah, right there.
Right there, built at the same time as this facility. So this was a little engine house just north of us. And they came back a little bit later after breakfast, and the locomotive was gone.
Just gone.
Yep. Built up enough steam that it actually backed down the tracks, busted through the barn doors, and it went along the railroad that was basically out in the bay. It was kind of a redwood piling type of thing. And then it hit a device called a derail. A derail is a thing that basically prevents two oncoming sections of track from intersecting. And when it hit the derail, which is just like this device right here, it flipped into the bay. And it actually stayed in the bay for 6 months until a company called Mercer Fraser came, built a new trestle around it, and then they put it back into service.
Wow.
And years later, we were able to save it. Sacramento, California State Railroad Museum, they had required it, and then eventually they donated it back to us.
Wow.
So it's home.
That is an impressive, I guess, origin story.
Yeah. And the one other funny thing I always like to tell people, 1923 was a terrible, terrible year for Humboldt Northern Railroad. Their line went all the way up through McKinleyville on the current day road called Railroad Avenue in McKinleyville.
Right.
And that year, number 1 and 2 locomotives ran into each other. So they had 3 train wrecks in 1 year.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Yeah.
So this is just an example of some of the awesome history we have out here at Samoa. We're trying to build a full-blown timber and railroad museum out here, coupled with a excursion train around the bay. So if you want to see more of this railroad history, like, we urge you guys, like, please
So you're
come
open
out.
for like tours of the facility, sort of, or?
Yeah, so during the summer months, we do these things are called speeder rides. We have our little local maintenance of way cars, like our AMR number 60 and the PL car, and we run on tracks both in Samoa to Manila, and then we also run in Eureka, and we usually run over the Eureka Slough Bridge. It is being taken apart and repurposed as a rail with trail bridge.
Right.
So we've been working really, really hard to push the message of rail with trail, because we want to have a trail around the bay. We also want to have an excursion train.
Yeah.
I had Senator Mike McGuire out here. I had Congressman Jared Huffman out here.
I was going to say, McGuire is really at the forefront of the Great Redwood Trail project.
Yes, exactly. And so we've been working with them and really trying to you know, make a cohesive message so that we can actually have both of those things.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing some history with us.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out. All of these cars actually work for the Northwestern Pacific Railroad, and the amazing thing is back in 1964, when we had that massive 1,000-year flood event, they lost 100 miles of railroad, and those 3 cars were actually used to help rebuild the railroad, including the dining car. It actually fed the crews that were working on the railroad.
Wow.